Hi, YouTube.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
All right. To the bang. Wait, what is it? What are we doing here? To the bang, bang, the boogie. Say up, jump the boogie. To the rim of the boogie, to the beat.
Let's
To the
go.
bang, bang, the boogie. God dang. Easy. Good call. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everyone's good. Tuck, how are you? Would you do anything exciting today?
Nothing really. No. Uh, Played some Death Stranding 2,
Was that fun?
dude. It's a beautiful game.
Now,
It's awesome.
do you play as Norman
Yeah,
Reedus again? Oh, you do?
yeah. You still play as Norman Reedus. But there's just like there's a couple extra layers and stuff, different characters and stuff. So, what's up, Mike? How you doing? Good to see you too. Or good to see that you're in the chat.
Heck yeah. Well, that's good. That's exciting. Seems exciting.
Yeah, it
Happy
looks
for
it
the
looks
first.
amazing too. It looks amazing. I We booted up the game. I was playing it with a couple people, a couple peeps, and the first frame of the game, we legit sat there and went, "This is a video game." We're like straight up like, and we
Nice.
can't shut the fuck up about it too because how good it looks. So,
Well, that's all right.
but yeah,
Looks it at yeah. I don't know. I just get it's not really a horror game. I guess I have to play the first game. I can't judge anything until I play the first game, but
mm-hmm.
I just haven't played it because I'm like that. You know, it's all third person, open world,
Yep,
go on adventures and stuff like that.
yeah. It's they call it jokingly like a walking simulator,
Oh,
but it's yeah,
you
it's
still have
it's
to carry around the creepy little baby thing.
so you don't until something happens.
Oh, great.
And so I don't want to spoil anything, but there's some pretty sad shit that happens in the game. I'm not gonna
Oh
lie.
man.
Is that I was sitting there playing it today. The sad shit hit today, and I just went like, "Fuck,"
Did you get emotional?
I did. I get because it's really disturbing to watch. But and then you know, Daryl Dixon's like, "Bro, what?"
Oh.
So
So what?
yeah.
You go to? When's your last movie you went to? Tell us
So
about your last movie adventure.
so I've been to three. What's this one I'm missing? I've been to went to the movie three times the last like month, couple weeks, and I saw Final Destination. Oh, I saw Bring Her Back. That was a while ago, though. I mentioned that. I saw Final Destination Bloodlines, which was a good time. It was a fun, entertaining movie. Um, lots of gore, lots of interesting kills. Really funny. There's some really funny shit in that one too. It was like the first one that kind of like that I've from what I remember that kind of like leans into the silliness of everything. You know, it's they're aware. They're like, whoa, what the fuck? What's going on here?
Yeah.
But I saw 28 weeks later twice. And then in actually a couple days, I'm gonna go see F1, the new Brad Pitt racing movie.
It's
But
supposed to be really good.
I heard it's really good. The only thing is it's like 2.5 hours long, so I'm a little like, but um,
Tell me about 28 Days Later. Was it good?
dude, 28 weeks or years
Or 28 years
later.
later?
Yeah, I think I was saying weeks. My bad, y'all. But that movie is so good. That movie is a phenomenal movie. The fact that it's the third in a like zombie franchise is amazing. The it feels like its own thing, but it is still like a continuation of And I know Cillian Murphy's going to show up in like the sequels to this one and all that. But going from I rewatched weeks or days and weeks before going to it just so I can know the lore and stuff if there's any characters that show up or whatever. It's really detached from like those movies. They don't really mention any of the stuff except for the UK's in like a quarantine like in weeks and stuff like
So
that.
has society moved forward in the 28 years?
Yeah, so in 28 years, the infected area, they're pretty much stuck in that area. They're like in a quarantine. Everywhere else in the rest of the world is normal. So like, there's a character that shows up, that's like a military guy that was sent in, and he's like, I think he's Swedish. Um, no, he's Norwegian. He's Norwegian, I think.
Same thing.
Same difference, you know. And bro goes in, and the main character, this kid named Spike, is like super detached from like the typical Zoomer shit of present day, and so they're kind of like having some back and forth, like, do you know about this? And he's like, no, what's that? And it's super funny. It's actually really funny. But what's interesting is in the whole plot of it, and sorry if I'm rambling too much about this. This movie's so fun. I love it. But the main plot is Aaron Taylor Johnson and his son Spike are taking care of Spike's sick mom, played by Judy Comer, I think that's her name, Comer, something like that. She's fucking awesome in it. But she has something going on with her. She's like bedridden and she lashes out. She doesn't know who she is and stuff like that. It's really sad stuff. But the first 30, 40 minutes of the movie is Aaron Taylor Johnson taking his son Spike out to the mainland. So they're on like an island that has a thing called the Causeway, which is this little bridge made out of like sand and dirt. But the tide comes by and covers it, so no infected get on the island or anything. So they have to venture out into the mainland, the infected territory, and Spike wants to get his first kill. So it's kind of like dad taking his kid hunting for the first time, but instead it's zombies.
Nice.
And the infected have evolved. They're not just they still run super fast or super freaky, but they've almost become like tribes almost. Like they've formed their own,
like intelligence.
yeah.
Like they figure shit out.
There's like alphas now, so there's like, and that's the meme. There's an alpha with his hog out. In the movie, they have their huge hog out, and they're like running and scary and big and.
It's
But
great.
awesome movie. There's genuinely what a lot of people I've seen that haven't liked it. They went in expecting like the scariest movie ever, and they ended up like crying, and they don't like that. They get upset
Really,
because
yeah.
the movie is more beautiful. There's some moments in there. There's a moment towards the middle end that legitimately had me sobbing in the movie theater, and I've never sobbed. Like I was like, because of how like beautiful it was. And Ray Fiennes' character is so fucking awesome, dude. He's so awesome. But anyways, yeah, go watch that shit. I've seen it twice. I'm debating going to go see it again.
Really.
You guys need to go buy like a bunch of tickets so we can get that second and third one. So.
Well, it made enough money already to pay for it. So.
Yeah.
All right. Good call. Go see it. Tell him Tucker sent you. Okay, so we're going to talk about some horror video games tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Horror video games. There's survival horror. Most of it is survival horror, correct?
Yep.
What other type of horror would you say?
There's like RPG horror. There's horror themed like beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or like gothic, like there's like Bloodborne, which is horror themed. But mainly the ones that at least that I'm can talk about are like the survival horror games.
See, those are my favorite. You got like Dead Space. You got one of mine, a great survival horror game that I can't believe hasn't been remastered. Cold Fear.
Cold Fear.
On the original Xbox and PS2. That was a great game. You're a Coast Guard, and you're sent on this ship, this ocean liner, and action horror. There's Ozzy.
Action
Schooling me.
horror.
And yes,
Yes, Resident Evil 5 Rock Punch, dude.
that's all you need.
That's all you need.
But so you're on this boat, cargo vessel, and there's a bunch of zombies and creepiness in it, and that's a great game, Cold Fear. What was another fun? Run Like Hell. Remember that game? Have you played that? RLH, Lance Henriksen. Uh, um, you're stuck on a space station and you're trying to get off, and it's full of creepy crawlies.
I've never even heard of that before.
Run Like Hell is a
Yeah.
badass game, dude.
Dude, okay. I gotta add that then. But yeah, I remember the first like survival horror games that you showed me, you and like the Big Bubs would show me were like the Cold Fear. I was too young to remember you guys playing Silent Hill 4 and stuff like that. But like Dead Space and like
Yes.
Resident Evil 5, those were like the big survival horror games I remember you guys playing.
You know what? Here's another one here. And maybe some people who played it. I believe that Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham Asylum, is a horror game.
Yeah, I would say so.
It really is, because you're stuck. Batman is stuck on that island.
Yeah. The Thing
The
remastered.
Remastered is amazing. I want to get the physical copy of it.
Mhm.
There's like a lot of extra stuff.
We have them at work.
Oh, I love
So-
The Thing. That was the most frustrating video game I've ever played in my life. Because you got to go down and get that security key
Mhm.
down that staircase. And then you're using up all of your ammo. And then when you get down there, you have no ammo. And then you have to come all the way back up, which with barely any ammunition sucks. So then you get out of there, you get to the elevator, then you go up and you're like, oh, thank God. Then you got to fight you got to kill off about 300 freaking dudes. Oh, God, that game is so frustrating, but so much fun.
Yeah. I never got to finish that one, but with the remaster and stuff, I'm like, I kind of want to play it because I think they also fixed some like mechanics so they work better.
Yeah, it's a lot better. It's a lot easier for the. Whenever I've played it, I've just gotten my teammates killed right off the bat.
Mhm.
I don't want to mess around with my teammates because all they do is get infected and try to kill me. You know, It's the way teammates are.
That's true.
Remember, there is no I in team, but there is a U in cunt.
That's true.
I just wanted to say the C word on YouTube Live. Thanks.
Has Joe played PT? He hasn't. That's actually one of the videos
No,
I
I haven't.
pulled up.
We should show some of that because that's a Resident Evil game, right? Or is it a Silent Hill game?
Silent Hill game.
And Guillermo del Toro.
Yep, Hideo Kojima, and Guillermo del Toro.
Just those two names. How did that game not become a mainstream thing?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, it literally is voted as like one of the most, like amazing, like the scariest horror game ever, and they never finish it. The main reason why I wanted to talk about horror games today was actually because of Hideo Kojima. Because this came out, Death Stranding 2, and I was just thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, like,
Oh,
it's so sweet. I love it. There's Norman Reedus, and then there's Lou the baby. But kind of looks like
Carlo.
yeah, that's the thing that's scary about it, dude. But
Carlo.
little har. But there's this game kind of stemmed from the cancellation of Silent Hills or PT. So you guys know there's Silent Hill's been like a huge franchise. I actually have one of the remakes here Silent Hill 2 on the PS5. This one's amazing, and then there's a new one
I
coming
want to
out
play
this
so
year.
bad.
It's so good. You can borrow my PS5 and play it. But Silent Hill F is the newest one coming out this year. It takes place in like Japan. It looks sick as frick, dude. But Silent Hill is a franchise made by Team Silent. Starting, I think the first one came out like 99, I think 98, 99, on the PS1. And then it brought over to the PS2 Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, and then there's Silent Hill 4 The Room. But the original team only worked on the first 4, left, made another series called Forbidden Siren, which I wanted to talk about too. Death Stranding 2 is actually one of the best looking games ever, right? Like, we paused the opening part, we sat there and just went, wait, is this like in game, or is this like a live action deal that they're doing? Looks amazing. But Silent Hill was owned by Konami. Konami isn't the best company, honestly. They're pretty, now they're like coming back with stuff and like being kind of supportive and cool, but they're pretty rough. They like would delete the source code of all their games, so they could never. It was hard to make remakes and remasters of their stuff, so none of their stuff was stored correctly. But the first original team made Silent Hill 4, or the first 4 Silent Hill games, left, enjoyed Sony Interactive, and they still work with Sony, and they made Forbidden Siren, or Siren, which is a really freaky game. And then they kind of hired Western developers to start working on like Homecoming, Shattered Memories, Downpour, stuff like that. But what was really cool was you have Hideo Kojima, who is known for making Metal Gear Solid. It was also like the vice president of Konami, I think, at the time, or one of the top like heads of Konami. And they got him to. He was like, "I want to make a Silent Hill game with Guillermo del Toro, and then Junji Ito, who Guillermo del Toro, famous horror director. Junji Ito. Hold on, let me try to find a appropriate picture to pull up. But let me see here. Japanese artist that made Spiral or Uzumaki, Tombs, Smashed, stuff like that. Let's see. I think all of his photos are kind of. I guess this one's not too bad. I'll pull this one up here. But like really freaky horror art. Let me see.
What's his name?
Junji Ito.
Yeah, he's the one that did the gross little glyceride
Yeah.
thing up here. Makes me want to freaking puke every time I look at it, you weirdo.
Yeah, here's this guy here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the one with the pus.
so gross.
Squishing his face, and there's a bunch of piss. What? Yeah, pretty nasty art, but really nice. I love it. But he was also in there too, and so you have literally 3 of the top tier, the people that would make a Silent Hill game, take that idea that's so good of just like a scary abandoned town that has creatures in it, that like is literally like personification
Guillermo del
of who you
Toro.
are. And Guillermo del Toro.
That's it. That's all you have to say is creepy, deserted town with creepy monsters.
And Konami wanted
Fucked it up.
Hideo Kojima to make a Metal Gear Solid game so bad that they straight up canceled it, even though it was like hard at work, like finishing this game. So what I'll do real quick is I'll pull this. I'll share a little bit of PT. I'll probably show just the opening part so you don't get like demonetized or anything.
It's all right.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, just turn the volume down.
And what was so cool about how they did this was they teased it at, I don't know if it was E3 or like a.
Now Guillermo del Toro had something to do with what we're watching right now, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And they dropped this teaser from an unknown company. Nobody knew it was Silent Hill at all. And they dropped this thing called PT, which stands for Playable Teaser on the PlayStation Store. And it's literally just this first person. You're like the hallway of like a house. And there's this radio going off. I'll turn up a little bit.
Local gun store 2 days earlier. This brutal killing took place while the family was gathered at home on a Sunday afternoon. The day of the
Still looks great.
went to the trunk of his car,
Does.
the rifle, and shot his wife when he was cleaning up the kitchen after lunch. When his 10-year-old son came to investigate the commotion, the father shot him too. His 6-year-old daughter had the good sense to hide in the bathroom, but reports suggest he lured her out by telling her it was just a game. The girl was found shot once in the chest from point-blank range. The mother, who he shot in the stomach, was pregnant at the time.
It's the lighting in these games. Come on.
And something you'll notice is you go through that door and it loops.
What? Spooky.
The sound.
That knocking is really disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is there somebody? Oh. I wonder what time that clock said. What the hell? Is it the
Yeah,
same
so
22:39? Just oh, he didn't look.
when this teaser came out, and the game was canceled, they delisted it from the store, and they have, and once you delete the game, I'm pretty sure you can't even reinstall it.
Yeah.
People sell consoles with this download on it for like thousands of dollars.
Oh shit.
So if you still got this on your PS4, hit me up.
What the hell? Okay, it's 23:59. Someone's pounding on the door. Jeez, like seriously, dude, this is creepy as fuck. Ah.
Yeah, that's probably where I'll stop it.
Dude.
Yeah, pretty freaky stuff. See how like even just that there wasn't any crazy jump scares or
That knock bothered me.
like it's just atmospheric. You know, there's the rain going off. You hear the radio talking about a family getting murdered. You're like, what the hell is going on here? But yeah, then there's a bunch of stuff people are still finding out about how this works. There is a character named Lisa um, that does appear that follows you, and this tall woman that looks in like resurrected, and she like follows you. And what they discovered too during this was that in the programming that she's always behind you.
Yeah.
And when you turn around, they just like super freaky stuff. But yeah, like how effective that is already. And just like I don't know, Konami fumbled the bag, as they say.
Yeah, that's not cool.
So, but yeah, no, super effective, super awesome. If any of you guys have a PS4 that has that downloaded, give it to me, please. I want it. But anyways, yeah. Big thing with that is Silent Hill. Now it's kind of come back, but for a period of time, Silent Hill, which has always been like the most effective horror game in my opinion. At least those original 4, especially the room. The room is freaky as shit, dude.
I hated that game when it came out.
But they finally had like a return to this, and then they canceled it. The reason I bring that up, not only did Hideo Kojima work on it, and they also worked on Death Stranding, but he repurposed Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus shows up at the end of this teaser, and it's revealed that it's Silent Hills. And this is kind of after he got fired from Konami, this is kind of his bounce back. And so the spirit is kind of in this game franchise. And there's some scary shit in this game. There's this thing called BTs that you have to see. You have to plug into the other side because there's this like fake baby attached to your chest. And the babies can see ghosts from the other side. And they just show up and they're these like connected to like a point somewhere that you can't see with this like tendril, and they're floating in the air. And the second you get them, these like handprints are made out of like black goo as they're coming towards you, and they try to pull you in to like the black goo.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, then you get either sucked in and you have to fight this huge boss that's super freaky and super loud. But love it. I love it. It sucks that Silent Hills didn't come out. And there's still not a lot about the plot that's out there because everyone involved is kind of like hush hush, and of course there's probably NDAs and stuff. But yeah, that sucks. But it's one of the greatest disservice to gaming ever.
Yeah, I can tell.
But yeah, so but anyways, another franchise that I would love to talk, and Dad here showed it to me, but is Resident Evil. I used to have every Resident Evil game. I sold them, but I've been rebuilding my collection. I technically have all of them on PC. I had them on Steam, but physically I've been trying to build those back up. But I got the Resident Evil 4 remake.
Game is that's so awesome.
So nice. I finally played through it. I love it. I think this is an awesome remake. But same with the second and third one. Those remakes are great too. Personally, one of my favorite games, because I used to be really good at speedrunning it, and it's also the roots of PT being abandoned are kind of in this game, but Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 has like that realistic first-person vibe that this is kind of going with. And so, I don't know, I kind of like it. It's like playing Death Stranding and having this kind of fills a little bit of that void. Yeah. But, I mean, it's not going to match it 100%. What I'll do real quick, though, is I'll show you. You guys remember what PT looked like? Here's the... footage for Resident Evil 7. Let me just pull this up here.
See, I liked Resident Evil 8, but we won't get there yet.
Resident Evil 8's great. I love Resident Evil 8. But this kind of realistic...
Yes. See, I love the creepiness in people walking by doors
Hmm.
in games.
But yeah, kind of that same, and it gets a little crazier than this. They do punch up the action because it is Resident Evil.
Hmm.
But that same kind of spirit, that realistic first person kind of deal is still there. So it kind of feels a little bit of that void. Um, but yeah, what's your thoughts on Resident Evil or
I
Silent
love
Hill too? I kind of glossed over it, but
Silent Hill 2 was awesome.
mhm.
Um, because the thing that I don't like the controls in those games.
Yeah, the tank controls.
Yeah, you're just like, ugh. But I like the set. I've never played the first one
Mhm.
ever.
They're remaking it. Same team that did two are remaking the first one. So
I played 2 a few times. I played 3 a few times. I played 4 once.
mhm.
I played. I really liked the one with the father and the son on the Silent Hill was at 5.
Homecoming.
The Homecoming was fun.
Homecoming. Yeah.
I played the PSP versions of them or the games. Um, I liked Silent Hill. The second one was extremely weird. You
Yeah.
know, the third one really wasn't that weird. Fourth one was just freaking out there.
Yeah. The fourth one, the first three take place like, typical open space. I mean the fourth one does too, but what makes the fourth one kind of different is there's these first person
Yeah,
um segments. The first three involve people going to Silent Hill. In that deal, and then four is a dude wakes up in his apartment and it's all like sealed off and he's like, what the hell? And he finds a little hole in the wall. He crawls through it, and then he ends up being able to walk around. But there's some imagery in that fourth game with like there's these monsters with like big heads,
yeah,
and they have like
it's
it's
creepy.
super freaky. Uh, but yeah, no, four I think is definitely the freakiest out of all of them. But I don't think it's the best. But it's like that. It's like my kind of personal go-to though. But
Yeah, and with Resident Evil, I liked the seventh one because the seventh one made it scary to me.
mhm,
The other ones, it was just a survival horror.
yeah,
But when you switch the camera to first person in those video games, totally new ballpark. You
yeah,
know, it's just totally different game right there. So, but I like the eighth one, the village.
mhm,
But I liked playing that on because you can either play it first person or third person. And I'm a third person video game. That's how I like playing video games is third person.
mhm,
So I mean, it's just the eighth one reminded me more of the old school survival horror. You know,
mhm.
there's another one that came out. That's got David Harbour in it. What's that
Oh,
called?
Alone in the Dark.
I want to play that.
Oh yeah,
I guess that got really good reviews.
yeah. I guess that's another thing too. Alone in the Dark was the first survival horror game.
Yeah,
The original, not the shitty Wii fart version, but
but then God, what else? I was just thinking about another game too. But yeah, I want to play that one. That looks just awesome.
yeah.
But I don't know. I like the Saw games. The Saw video games are pretty fun.
Mhm.
But I'd say the two big ones are, Silent Hill and Resident Evil.
Mhm.
Just cause.
Yeah, those are like the big two that are like, they have a whole franchise of movies, cartoons.
Yeah.
The first, I'll say too, with movie adaptations, to get back to the movies, the first Silent Hill movie and the first Resident Evil movie,
Are pretty good. Yeah.
pretty good. They're entertaining. They're like fun movies. Um, and then the
They just got
sequels,
ridiculous.
yeah, the sequels. You're like, man, what are we doing here? They're with Silent Hill, um, I guess they're rebooting both right now. They're making a direct sequel called The Return to Silent Hill, with the original director of Silent Hill, and it's an adaptation of 2, which is cool. And then Zach Krager from Whitest Kids You Know and Barbarian and Weapons is rebooting Resident Evil at Sony.
Oh, really?
So, yeah,
I want to see Weapons really bad.
me too.
That looks great.
But what was it? Yeah, I love uh Resident Evil and Silent Hill. Excuse me. But Resident Evil I think is like definitely a lot more fun to play because it's more actiony. You know, you get to grab a fucking RPG and blow up the bad guy.
Yeah.
More there's puzzles. It's a bit more psychological.
I got to run to the back. I'll be right back. You got this?
I got this. But yeah, has anybody in the chat have you guys played any Resident Evil or Silent Hill games or any horror games that you remember or you're like your favorite or anything like that? So Quentin, I'm here. Is this thing on? Yeah. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of horror games. Mainly Silent Hill, Resident Evil are the ones I've replayed, but I've played so many other like RPG. There's a whole wave of like internet horror games like Slender, Amnesia, Penumbra, stuff like that. I got kind of a measly collection. I got another one I'll show here in a second, but I used to have all of these Silent Hill games and all of the Resident Evil games. And with Resident Evil, I even had the different editions on different consoles. Then I sold those all for college, and then that's you know how that ends up. But I have all the originals. Do you have all the originals of like Silent Hill and Resident Evil and stuff? Silent Hill games are so expensive. Those original games. The cheapest one I've been able to find is the Silent Hill 4. I guess like the new ones, but Silent Hill 4 on the original Xbox is like $40 to $50. So, but easy. Let's see. I'm just here taking notes. Games pass me by, but it's never too late to learn. That's true. There's some like download one of the like free like internet horror game or something. Just give that a go. A lot of it's first person. A lot of them you can't really defend yourself or anything, but it would still kind of give you that same thrill. There's some really good ones on there. So, or even like RPG horror games that were super effective at the time. But yeah, no, I was so happy. That Death Stranding 2 came out. So kind of just put me down like memory lane with all the other horror games and everything. So, but yeah, the big like thing. Let's see, I have Silent Hill and the RE Director's Cut for PS1. That's sick. That's sick, Quentin. Silent Hill 1 on the PS1 is so expensive. I've been trying to find. I had a copy of it. It was just the disc. Got it for. It was like super scratch too. I got it for like a couple bucks, and then just never. I sold it for college, and I never got around to buying it because it's so expensive again. And then the Resident Evil Director's Cut. That's such a good copy too. On the PS1, the tank controls. The thing is, the first 3, like I used to be able to enjoy playing. Yeah, RE2 is freaky. RE2 is a scary ass game. When Mr. X is following you and stuff, shit's actually spooky. But yeah, I think I like the only thing though is they're two completely different things, but I think I preferred like the Silent Hill 2 over, or like the Silent Hill horror over Resident Evil horror. But I've also played so much Resident Evil that it's like kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy sauce, you know. I used to speedrun 7. I used to have a pretty good like speedrun on 7. That it's like, you know, I don't know. It's a crazy time. It's a crazy time. The thing is with like speedrunning too with like horror games is there's so many points put in there to spook you, but when you play it so many times that like you kind of loses the effect a little bit, which sucks, but also, you know, still fun to do. So
Sorry.
you're good, Pops.
Hey, Quentin's here. Woo!
But yeah, Quentin has the original Silent Hill and the Resident Evil Director's Cut on PS1. That's sick. That's
dude, that's
awesome.
awesome.
That's like a house payment, those two games. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah, Resident Evil 2 was kind of with Mr. X or whatever.
yeah. What's freaky about it is like you have like not only are you worried about the zombies and like the lickers and stuff like that getting you and the other creatures, but then you have just like this big guy that's just following you.
Yeah.
And he just
Smashing
shows
through
up
walls.
and smashing through walls and shit, and you're like, oh my gosh.
It's like, leave me alone. Big
Leave me
scary
alone,
man.
dude.
Piss off.
But yeah. Another thing I want to say, just for the physical stuff that I have, so happy this game came out. It's a
Right.
sequel to one of our favorite games, but it's Alan Wake.
Oh, heck yeah.
Got Alan Wake 2. I still haven't finished this game because it's been hard for me to sit down and play games. I'm surprised I've even been playing Death Stranding 2. This set here comes with a copy of the original 2, the original Alan Wake. Not Undead Nightmare, though. You can only play them, I think, on the Xbox store now. But Alan Wake 2 visually looks amazing as well. And they mix some of the visuals that I've played through so far have been insane. There's like a whole segment of the game that is like a film projected over graphics.
Yeah.
And it's just super freaky. And the music's awesome too. And it's super Twin Peaks, survival horror. Awesome. I love it. But I need to finish that probably after Death Stranding 2 though, because I'm on that path. But
speaking of that, graphics over. When we did the Cripple of Inishmin by come on, Pillowman, who wrote that?
oh, Martin McDonough.
Martin McDonough. When we did that for on the stage, there's a scene where they're watching a movie. So the actors' backs are the actors' backs are or the actors are forward sitting in seats, but there was a projection on the back of the set to show that they're watching a movie. And every night we freaking did that, man, there was crazy shadows in the back of that theater because that Hartnett Alshire Theater was haunted as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
That place was, you'd be on stage doing shit in front of an audience, and you'd hear people walking on the catwalk.
Mm-hmm.
No, on the catwalk.
On the catwalk.
But so yeah. Anyway, so what game were we talking about?
Oh, we're kind of just talking about random stuff, but Alan Wake. That's kind of what
I liked the Alan Wake stuff because it's almost Pacific Northwest-ish, which is creepy just
on its own.
Live out in Oregon, man. That's just Oregon and Washington. It just is really. It's probably just the weather, but it's just a really. It's not depressing, but it's just spooky.
Mm.
You know. Oh God, yeah, Alan Wake. I love that game when you got the flashlight, and it's burning the demons.
Yeah.
What game is that associated with Max Payne?
So it's made by the same guys. There is kind of like a Max Payne like character. The Alex Casey, I think that's the name of the character, is the story that Alan Wake's writing. That's pretty much like a Max Payne.
Yeah.
but it's linked in with the Quantum Break and Control. The
Quantum Break
Remedy.
was that was kind of a
Quantum
nifty
Break was
game.
good.
But when we first got the PS3 years ago, and I played Heavy Rain, that game is like, because I was play because there's how many different endings to that game are there? There's just dozens of them,
Yeah.
and it talks how you choose is how your own personal, whatever.
Mhm.
But what bothered me was when you're playing the detective, because you're the detective looking for the girl, then you're also the father looking for the girl. Well, you make all of your choices through the game, and the choices I made were like whatever, and nothing was too difficult. But as I played as the detective, and I would go back to, your board that's got all the pictures and all the stuff that you find, the evidence from how you answer, I was noticing weird things like picture of feet and stuff like that. But then when I'd play as the father, which interacted with the cop, you were seeing the cop in those pictures.
Mhm.
So basically, how I played the game, I ended up being the one who murdered and kidnapped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what kind of a person am I?
Yeah.
Legacy
Oh,
of Kain, Soul Reaper,
yes.
dude. I love those games. I play the Blood Omen 2 is such a fun game to play during Halloween because when you're going through the city or the towns as Kane, it's like you hear people screaming and it's like, oh, it's such a spooky environment of a
Mhm.
game. But Soul Reaver is awesome, Quentin. Good call. That's a good one.
Another game, I'll say too, that's like horror inspired, um, is this. I love this game here.
See now, I am a total. Okay, what's this? Just wait.
So this here, American McGee's Alice.
Oh,
I love it. I love it. This one here is super freaky. It's not like in your face direct horror, but it's like really creepy. Gives you like
yeah.
really eerie vibes, and I love it. Alice in Wonderland's already freaky enough. Um,
Oh
but
yeah. My great
uh,
grandmother. My great. Oop, shit. My great grandmother would tell me all the time the scariest story her when she was growing up was Alice in Wonderland.
mhm,
Used to scare the crap out of her, and then Disney made it into a fun little happy. Walt Disney was fucked up anyway.
yeah.
But what was I gonna say? What was it we were talking about? God, I'm just out of it tonight.
Mhm.
BioShock.
Bioshock, dude.
BioShock is a creepy game.
Condemned.
Condemned. That's a
Condemned.
creepy ass game. I like Condemned too when you're like in the cabin and the bear,
Yep.
the
The
big
infected
Kodiak
bear.
bear is smashing through the freaking cabin trying to get you.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. The first Condemned's so freaky, and the second one's freaky too, but it's like freaky in a like it's just crazy. Like almost
Yeah.
like Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Um
Fistful of boomstick.
with the Evil Dead games. Even the
Yeah.
new one. They just stopped the service for that game, but um Friday the 13th.
That
Friday the
game was
13th game.
great. That game was
Um
great.
the I forgot what they call it, but it's like the Survivor. Dead by Daylight was like the first one, and then they made the Friday 13th, and then what was after
See,
that?
and then I enjoyed for a while. I really enjoyed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of fun because you're trying to get away from the family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was a fun game. I haven't played Killer Clowns from Outer Space yet.
I played a little bit of that. I kind of liked it. I thought it was
Did
super
you?
fun. Hmm.
I heard a lot of people though that kind of ruin it with all their mods that they've done, and they
Yeah.
didn't separate that from the regular game. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre game was fun.
So,
A lot of fun, just hiding from Leatherface is just like,
oh yeah. Left 4 Dead.
yeah,
Left 4
they're
Dead.
okay.
Yeah, zombie games. Dead Rising.
Dead Rising was fun.
That first game is so nostalgic to me. Running through the mall and like in Dawn of the Dead, whooping ass.
There was that one from Land of the
Oh yeah,
Fiddler's
Land
Green.
Fiddler's Green. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting zombie game.
Mhm.
The Walking Dead video games.
The Telltale, and then there's that.
Dude, I'm a total Fred head.
Me too. I'm a Fredhead. I liked them, but Dead Rising was better. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dead Rising was awesome. Gonna be honest with you, Dad.
Uh-oh.
So, I rewatched all of the Jason movies, and then I've been rewatching all the Freddy movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I watched all the Jason movies. I didn't but I have some hot takes for Friday the 13th.
Okay.
So I love Jason Voorhees as a character.
Yeah.
I love, those movies are fun. But rewatching them, the first I still enjoy that we're giggling at them, having a good time. There's some goofy shit in there. There's some genuine good scares too. And the first three, at least, the first three had some of the best. The first one I've seen so many times, it's almost like kind of. I don't say it's boring, but it's kind of like, okay, I know what happens in it. I know like pretty much everything. But dude, once we get past 4, it is so hard to watch those movies. Jason Lives is awesome though. Jason Lives and New Beginning are awesome, or New Blood, I think that's what it's
New
called.
Blood. She just died too. The
Yeah,
actress.
the actress that plays the Tina. But 5 is we don't talk about that, but 6 is super fun. 7's fun. Jason Takes Manhattan's funny. It's a fun, entertaining movie. But dude, it's like Jason on a boat for 90% of the movie, and then he shows up in New York City,
Times Square
for a second, and then kills a couple drug addicts, and then fucking gets melted by ooze in New York in the sewer system.
Yeah.
And then Jason Goes to Hell, man. Jason X. Oh man. And then I like the in Jason X, it was more tongue in cheek. It's
David Cronenberg was in it.
David Cronenberg, and he dies.
And he dies horribly, yes.
That was fun. But the one thing and then Freddy vs. Jason's super fun. I love that movie. That movie was awesome. But the one thing I was really impressed with was when we were rewatching the Friday the 13th remake. And you have such a good Jason design in that.
Mm-hmm.
You have interesting lead characters. And you have interesting they do a lot more with Jason than a lot of the later sequels did. And I kind of think that movie rocks, honestly. I know I'm not a huge fan of the huge remake. The Nightmare on Elm Street one's dog shit. That whole era of remake, the Prom Night remakes, poop.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But the remake Friday the 13th was actually a pretty solid fucking movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. But yeah, that was more. I think the reason why I liked the game so much is because you're hiding. It's almost impossible to get away from him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can punch him and then run, but you got the stamina bar that just kind of clogs you up, and I liked that game. But yeah, I can understand. So, have you rewatched the Nightmare on Elm Street movies?
Mm-hmm.
Which ones are better?
Dude,
Nightmare on Elm Street or
I think Nightmare on Elm Street's more I like it a lot more than the Jason movies. Freddy, it isn't, a thing that was like he's a bad dude. He does weirdo freak shit. No, he's not like Jason. That's just like a big, like baby.
Yeah.
But there's a part in like there's some parts in Nightmare on Elm Street that are so creative and like genuinely actually like funny.
Yeah. Welcome to primetime, bitch.
Dude, welcome to prime time, bitch. The amount of times he says bitch is so funny. It's like, why are you saying that, bro? Like, what are we doing?
Robert Englund finally got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Finally?
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Englund carries those movies.
Oh, totally.
And that's the thing with like the Jason movies is until Kane Hodder, he didn't have anybody playing Jason more than once. Constantly would change. The second Kane Hodder was Jason. They like he had like a cohesive thing going on.
Yeah.
But Robert Englund was like Freddy. Freddy carried those. He had a whole ass TV show that was around Freddy. He'd show up in every episode.
See, that's the scary thing about that is because, and back in the 70s, they made a movie called The Cowboys with John Wayne, right? And it's the first movie that John Wayne dies in. And they wanted Jack Nicholson to be that part, to play the part that Bruce Dern ended up playing, that killed John Wayne. And Nicholson's like, are you fucking insane? I'm not going to be known as the man that killed John Wayne. That's insane. That's just not going to happen. And they asked a few other people, they even asked Clint Eastwood, and Clint Eastwood just laughed at him like, no, I'm not going to kill John Wayne.
Huh.
We don't get along, but I'm not going to freaking kill him in a movie. I'll kill my career. But it's funny how it actually did kill Bruce Dern's career. Because, you kill this icon. And, yeah, I didn't even remember where I was going with that.
Yeah, you have like an icon. A character that's like an icon.
Iconic characters.
And like, yeah, Freddy is an iconic character.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I love those Freddy movies. The first one, you have Wes Craven carrying everything. So it's like super, it's an independent.
Just a second. I remember where I was going with it. Jackie Earl, or whatever.
Haley,
I felt bad for him because I think he's a wonderful actor. He's a guy that turned his life around, And as somebody who would, how would you, if somebody offers you that role and it's a good paying gig, how do you turn that down?
Yeah.
But yet at the same time, it's like, is that going to kill your career by playing that? Because of that iconic, anybody can be Batman.
Yeah.
Anybody can be Bruce Wayne. Anybody can be Superman. Anybody can be Clark Kent. But there's only one person that can be Freddy Krueger, and that's Robert Englund.
Yep.
It's just it.
Yeah.
Same with Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
There's nobody else going to play Indiana Jones. You got to wait 50 years.
Yeah.
And then find somebody. And then, as soon as you just, it's not going to happen. Anyway, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about the Nightmare on Elm Street movies that just are. They're not only more entertaining. I mean, it's still. They're more like sadistic. They're more fucked up.
Yeah.
Because Jason just like throws you out a window or like fucking uses like a harpoon gun in every fucking movie, which is still horrible. Not trying to say it's not right. But then Freddy would be like, let me resurrect your dead dad.
Yeah.
Freddy's like, let me resurrect your dead dad, make him twerk in front of you, and then he farts a cloud dust that kills you.
And then giggles and
then like farts on you as you're dying. Like crazy shit like that.
And Freddy Krueger is such a great character because he's part of the times.
Mm-hmm.
You had Wes Craven, who is known for making these sadistic fucking movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he makes the first Nightmare on Elm Street. that first Nightmare on Elm Street movie's effed up.
Yeah.
That's a creepy ass movie.
Mhm.
But then for some reason, because of how the 80s were, let's add humor to killing.
Mhm.
The second one, I'm still so up in the air with the Freddy's Dead or the
Freddy's Revenge.
Freddy's Revenge,
Yeah.
because it's just like, so is, not that it matters, not that this is any significance to anything, but you're like, so is Freddy gay?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
why would they made such a twist, which is fine.
Mhm.
It's fine, and that's not why I'm up in the air about the movie.
Mhm.
It's just you're
It's
like,
a very odd movie.
it's odd.
It's a
It's
movie.
Like, why would they throw that into? Why would they throw that into it?
Mhm.
You
And
know,
apparently, it wasn't like the writers and stuff say it wasn't
intentional.
intentional. But like, it's definitely like the queer community is definitely like, what's the word, like adopted that movie as like
Yeah.
one of the top tier. And then forgot the actor's name. I know he's sick.
Yeah,
I forgot the actor's name, but he played as Jesse, the main guy in Robert Number 2. Genuinely watching that movie, he gives a really good fucking
he's
performance in that
freaking
movie.
great. Yeah,
Like he's
great.
in there and he's like, oh my god, there's something inside of me, you know. So and there's a couple lines, you know. There's like the gym teacher that catches Jesse like shirtless at a gay bar, and then he takes him back to the school to run laps, and then gets killed.
Yeah,
And then
it was just such a weird choice for that time.
yeah, it's super odd movie. The way it's shot, the way it's written. They replaced Robert Englund for like, I don't remember how long to shoot, but they replaced him, and then there's literally shots of Freddy going like this. Because
Yeah,
the guy they replaced him with was just like a stunt double. And pretty much what they did was they recasted Robert Englund. I think he wanted a different amount of money, and they continued with Robert Englund until they did the remake. But the next one, number 3, was supposed to have. I think Wes Craven wrote the script for Dream Warriors. Was going to direct it. That didn't work out, and so I think it was. Pretty sure Frank Marshall did a run of it or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being Chuck. What's his name? Chuck. He directed the remake for The Blob. Chuck Russell. Chuck Russell worked on that. And I think 3 is really fun. You bring back Nancy from the first one.
Yep.
You have the guy from Body Double as like the other doctor that's in there.
Yeah, Kodo. Yeah, Kodo's in the third one too, isn't he?
No, that's the 6th one.
That's the 6th one. Who's
Lawrence Fishburne shows up.
Fishburne's in the third.
And he's awesome, dude. He's so good in that movie. He shows up even for a couple seconds. Yeah. But there's like some genuine like moments in 3 that are really pretty. Like when we were rewatching it, there's a scene where Nancy is talking to the Patricia Arquette's character, and they're kind of talking about like this related trauma they have of this guy with a glove, with like razor gloves, like harassing Freddy Krueger in his dreams. And the only person that can relate to this young girl is Nancy. They have a really sweet moment where they hug, and it's beautiful. Like it actually like made us like oh wow, that's like really like beautiful. Like in this movie, like what, you know?
Yeah.
And then yeah, John Saxon shows up back as the dad, and spoiler alert for a fucking like 40-year-old movie, but they all die anyways. But and then the 4th one carries a couple of the characters over, and then the 5th one, the Dream Baby, that one's a little weird. It has like the little kid from Jurassic Park with like at the beginning. I'm not the beginning.
You know what just occurred to me? Isn't it funny how up until the 80s, you had more movies where the father was terrorizing. Sorry, Quentin. You had the man terrorizing the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then after The Shining hit, I think that movie kind of scared Hollywood off a little bit, because then all of a sudden, instead of the mother trying to save somebody, it ended up being the dad was kind of the heroic one.
Mhm.
When the dad in the 70s and in the 60s was never the heroic one, really. Yeah, John Saxon, who was the only one that understood, you know, Nancy.
Mhm.
And then you had the dad from Monster Squad. It was almost like a reversal,
Yeah.
in a way with that. I don't know. I just thought about that. There's a few other
Yeah.
movies too.
I
And then
love. Oh yeah.
no, go ahead.
No, you're good. No, continue.
But no, I think that's weird. All that, and not weird, but I just think it's kind of, you know, I don't know. It happened after The Shining, so
Hmm.
I guess that affected some people. Damn it, Jack and Kubrick.
Damn, Jack. Yeah, I love. I know. I like. Dude, Monster Squad. Now we talk about movies, dude.
I
I
know.
love, dude. Monster Squad came out on Blu-ray or 4K, I think, by Kino Labor or whatever. Dude, it's on sale on Amazon for like $10. Fuck Amazon, but also $10. I
You
cop
know,
that.
you know what my favorite part in Monster Squad is? You know what my favorite part of Monster Squad is?
Isn't the I guess I don't know. What is your
When the dad and the kid are on top of the roof eating Burger King, watching the
Oh, and
movie.
they're watching the movie with the
Dude,
binoculars. Yeah, that's beautiful.
if monsters came, you and I would totally destroy these monsters. We'd know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I
That's how I taught you. That's how you learned. You learn by watching these horror movies.
yeah, I love Monster Squad. Fred Decker, man.
Fred Decker's what else? He directed what else? Fred Decker directed that.
Night of
He
the
did some
Creeps,
of
RoboCop 3.
Robert, but didn't he do some of the Tales from the Crypt too
He
on
did. I think
HBO?
he did a couple episodes of Tales from the Crypt. I don't really remember what they were about though. But yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, Jason, Freddy.
Freddy all the way.
Jason as like a character, like in Freddy versus Jason, I'm rooting for Jason to whoop Freddy's ass.
Yeah,
You know?
he's
But
like an
as
anti-hero. He's like
you know,
Hamlet.
yeah,
He's like
and
Hamlet. You want him to win.
yeah,
You want him
yeah,
to
come
win.
on.
You know.
And I just what's so funny about watching the Friday 13th movies is how funny they are. Cause there's scenes where like like the stunt actor like overshoots
Yeah.
something. So like there's a scene in part 6, for example, where like fucking he just starts walking through walls and doors. And like there's one shot where he like goes blasting through a door and you see the stunt actor like stumble and then like get back up and he's like, oh, and then like keeps going. But it's so funny. And then there's another part in I think 4 when I think it's Corey Feldman's like shit, I don't even remember the character. I think it was like his sister or something like
Yeah.
that. Has like this like boyfriend, and his boyfriend like disappears for a bit, and then the next time you see him get thrown through a window. But it literally looks like he's getting fucking like a machine tosses him. So we're
Yeah.
like, whoa, that was so aggressive. We rolled back and like looked, and you see the actor running and then jumping on a trampoline and jumping in. It's so funny. It's so funny. But and then Crispin Glover going.
The dance.
dance.
The dance.
But yeah. And then back to Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy's Dead is super interesting because that was their like 3D one. And Johnny Depp shows up back in that one. But
The drugs. Yeah.
New Nightmare is a pretty solid movie. I love New Nightmare.
Yeah.
And then that was like right before that was the pre-Scream Wes Craven, so it was kind of like his first like meta deal.
Yeah.
But I think it was pre-Scream, New Nightmare. I think, right?
Yes. That was right before New Night or the Scream movies.
Mhm.
See, once
But,
again, the John Saxon, when he shows up in New Nightmare, he's almost like this heroic, hey, if you need anything, you let me know and I
Mhm.
will fucking protect you or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, then when she
And
talks to
Freddy
Robert
and,
Englund.
and Robert Englund in the New Nightmare was so still fucking creepy.
Hmm.
Just being Robert Englund. So Robert Englund just in general is just a creepy fucker, you
Yeah.
know?
I like that part where he's like, "Yeah, I'm working on a painting,"
Yeah.
and he's in there, and then she leaves, and he's looking at, it, and he's like, "Wait," and it's Freddy. He's like,
Yeah.
"Huh," and then like she goes to talk to Wes Craven about what's going on, and Wes Craven's like, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on," and he says some beautiful stuff, and then she leaves, and then he goes to his computer, and he's typing out exactly what's happening in that scene, and he's like, "I
Yeah.
love it," and then And that's the next one after that was Freddy vs. Jason, then the remake. Freddy vs. Jason, I think it's just a fun movie.
Dude, that's a great movie.
It's
Come
a
on.
crazy movie. There's that deleted scene with who was it with James Franco?
Yeah. Was it?
Who? Yeah, James Franco and who else? Yeah, James Franco and somebody else. But um, yeah, man, I love those movies. But yeah.
They're pretty
Anyways,
good.
horror games.
Yeah, they need to make a Nightmare on Elm Street video game.
They
They
do.
did
They did on the NES.
on the NES and the 2600, didn't
Mhm.
they? No,
They
not
did.
that was Fred Nightmare or Fred 13th.
Mhm.
Dude, I remember that back like you'd go to back when the 2600 came out
Mhm.
and you'd go there to Target. And and you'd be walking in the back where like the toys were at, and they'd have the video game section, and some of the video game section didn't even have covers on them. It was just a video game, and someone wrote like Friday the 13th on it.
Yeah.
You're like, what is this? Or else Halloween. I remember seeing a Halloween 2600 game,
Mhm.
but I don't think that lasted very long. I think it didn't.
But yeah, there's horror games like whether it's like an adaptation of something, which is always nice because then like The Thing movie didn't make enough money for them to really give a fuck about it.
Yeah,
Um, I'm sure now it's probably with like DVD.
but the video game's amazing.
The video game's awesome, and then there's also like the comics and stuff for The Thing. But I know there's like a petition to get them to make a new video game because
Mhm.
the Thing remastered did so good.
Yeah,
So that could happen.
heck yeah. God, there's just so many. A lot of the newer horror games. Oh, what's the one called with the
Outlast.
Outlast? But Outlast is creepy, man. When you're
Mhm.
freaking getting chased by those two big freaking naked twins and their freaking balls are jiggling all over the place, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Yeah, they're like
It's
nuts
like
are
they're trying to
swinging.
murder me, but like their wieners are hanging
Mhm.
out. I can't deal with this.
Yeah, there's a part in one of the uh I think it's the Outlast Whistleblower DLC for the first game. I'm pretty sure a doctor like cuts off your penis
Yeah, yeah.
and you're just like
Ah!
shit.
Yeah,
But
it's
a whole
crossing.
other area, I mentioned it earlier, whole other area of horror games. I'll share my screen real quick. This was the internet era of horror games. Dad, you probably remember me playing this on your laptop.
Is it the Japanese stuff?
No.
Oh dear Lord. I actually freaking played this game.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago I finally played this game. And it is spooky.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird.
But yeah, the whole point, and it's something super simple, and this was so nice about, the internet. You can say a bunch of shit about the internet. It sucks. It's some of the worst stuff's ever has come out of it. But when people use it as a tool to tell stories and stuff like that, this is
Yep.
where it excels, honestly.
Heck yeah.
Minecraft too. Minecraft's scary as shit, Quentin. There's some stuff in Minecraft when you're by yourself in a cave, and all of a sudden you just hear something. You're like, "Wait, am I by myself right now?" But yeah, I remember playing through this. I wonder if Bro's ever gonna show up. Yeah, here, right about here. Yeah. Yeah, whole era of horror games were created because of that game, and then like Amnesia and stuff like that. But
There was a new. I just played it here. Just give me a second.
the new Amnesia.
No, some of that stuff like gives me kind of a headache.
Mm.
I just played this new game. Still Wakes the Deep. You're on a. I just played it. It's
Oh wait, I think I've
on
heard
an
about
oil
that.
rig. You're on an oil rig that's collapsing because there's some weird freaking thing that's coming out after you through the oil.
Mm.
And I tell you what, man, that game is pretty intense.
Mhm.
It's really intense.
Scottish oil rig in the 70s.
Yeah. It's
Oh, that's what that was. They're making like a sequel or something called Siren's Rest. I think they premiered it at the Xbox.
but it's extremely creepy.
Yeah.
And I love that kind of shit where it's just like you're not going to make it out of there alive kind of thing, but you have to fight to see, you have to fight. I love that. I'd end up dying on the toilet anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Speaking of a toilet, gotta use the toilet real quick. Do you want me to put on like a video or something? Or do you think you want to wrap it up?
We may as well just wrap it up.
Wrap it up? Okay.
Yeah, I got some. But yeah, so I hope we gave you guys some pointers. I mean, yeah.
Kind of just rambling about horror games, what we liked. If there's any like horror games that you've played through that we didn't talk about, comment something, and then we can check it out, or we can make a follow up next stream, and we can kind of chat about that. So
yeah.
But yeah,
Mike, Quentin, Ozzy, anybody else out there?
Around.
Thanks for coming on, hanging out with us. But yeah, you guys have yourself a good one.
You guys have a good night.
Later. Too many buttons.